This is not a story about courage. It is not a story about sacrifice. And it is not a story about miracles. This is simply the story of someone who survived. In 1912, the Titanic sank. We remember the ice, the cold water, the lifeboats that never returned. What we rarely remember is what happened to the people who lived past that night. One of them was a woman named Violet Jessop. Violet Jessop was not a hero. She did not pull anyone from the sea. She did not give a speech. She did not make a decision that changed the course of history. She was a ship's stewardess. She was doing her job, and she happened to be there. She served on 3 ships. In 1911, RMS Olympic collided with a naval cruiser. The ship survived. So did she. In 1912, RMS Titanic struck an iceberg and sank. Violet Jessop escaped in lifeboat number 16. In 1916, HMHS Britannic, now a hospital ship during the war, hit a naval mine and sank in the Aegean Sea. During that sinking, her lifeboat was pulled toward the ship's propellers. She jumped into the water, hit her head, and survived again. All 3 events are documented in official maritime records. At this point, we usually expect a certain kind of story. That survival brings wisdom. That disaster reveals purpose. That the person emerges changed with something important to teach us. But Violet Jessop never framed her life that way. She did not travel the world telling her story. She did not build a legacy around survival. She did not turn it into meaning. After the Titanic, she could have left the sea forever. Many people would have. But she didn't. She returned to work. To the same company. To the same kind of ships. Not because she was fearless, but because life had to continue. Survival did not end her story. It simply required her to live the next day. We build memorials for the dead. We carve names into stone. We tell stories about loss. But survivors are harder to place. They are not conclusions. They are not symbols. They are not neat. They wake up the next morning and go to work. Survival by itself is not celebrated. Late in life, Violet Jessop wrote a memoir. In it, she described herself simply as fortunate. Not chosen. Not brave. Just fortunate. She offered no lesson. No moral. No claim to significance. Some people say this story doesn't feel emotional enough. Maybe that's because nothing is being resolved. There is no redemption arc. No transformation. But perhaps the absence of emotion is not a flaw in the story. Perhaps it reflects something about us. We like to call survival a miracle. But for some people, survival becomes routine. Violet Jessop survived 3 disasters. And then she lived the rest of her life quietly. Maybe the hardest stories to tell are not the ones where something extraordinary happens, but the ones where life simply goes on.